Sustainable fashion has finally entered the chat in a cool way. Big influencers, celebrities, they are talking about shopping less, and de-influencing and underconsumption have been really popular topics on TikTok. I love this for us, and I especially love this for the planet. But what I don't want is for us to change because we've been guilted or shamed into doing something, or just because something is trending. We know how that ends. That behavior change won't actually last. So today I'm going to share some of the things that we think we should be doing to have a sustainable closet, quote unquote, when these things might actually be causing more problems than they're actually solving. There's a lot of content around banning fast fashion, not shopping at big chains, and of course, I like to see this. I think small and independent businesses and brands who are operating in a responsible way are the companies who deserve our money and whose clothes I personally want to wear. A lot of brands these days have taken the term sustainability and used it as a marketing term to incentivize us to shop there. And even though for some brands this sustainability initiative is completely genuine, it doesn't help us change our behavior to shop less. What's happened to me and what I've seen happen with clients is that we look for the easy solution, which is to shop something that is quote unquote sustainable, and we end up with clothes in our closet that might not be the right fit for us, but they were sustainable, so we felt like we had to buy them. We need to start asking ourselves how to shop. I also think we need to acknowledge that size, time, and finances are a privilege that allow for easier access to a slow fashion brand or a slow fashion closet. I also think that when we seek out exclusively quote unquote sustainable brands, we miss out on discovering small independent brands that operate from a place of responsibility simply because it's already part of their DNA. So what I tell my clients and what I do myself is to shop with longevity in mind. I want something that I'm going to wear for a long time, and that if my body and sizing changes, it's well made enough that I could take it to a tailor or seamstress and have it altered as much as possible. I know that's not always possible, but good construction allows this to happen more easily. I also like to take time to research a brand, whether they've called themselves sustainable or not. It makes me feel good about making a purchase. Focusing too much on guides, rigidly following body type rules, I think these are excellent tools in order for us to develop our own sense of style and our own taste, and to give us guideposts when we shop, so we're not mindlessly adding things that might not work for us. But what I've seen is when we follow these guides and rules so much, we put our clothes in this box and then we're unable to take them out of that context. And that can really stifle our creativity and our ability to mix and match the existing items in our closet. And when that happens, we start to feel bored with our clothes, we start to feel like we're unsatisfied with our closet, and we can't figure out why. So we think shopping is the answer, and we buy more things and get even more confused. We can take our clothes out of context by seeing them as elements of style, seeing them in terms of their silhouettes, their shapes, their structures. For example, if we look at a white t-shirt, we think, oh, this is just a white t-shirt, but it's not. In the context of color, it can be a very stark contrast to something dark. In the context of silhouette, it can add a bit of slouch to a really sharp tailored separate. And in the context of, let's say, just vibes of an outfit, it can inject some chill to an outfit that might be feeling too fussy. If you struggle with this, then buy a ticket to my live Shop Your Closet workshop. We go deep into these elements, and then we actually apply them on real people with real bodies, really cool styles, and their own closets. So you get to see how that works in action and apply it right away. I'll leave all the tickets and details for that in the description box below. Now, I'm not saying not to use these guides. They can be really solid tools. I think they're more beneficial when we use them as guideposts, when we're feeling uncertain about something, when we're wavering, but I don't think that they should be the entire foundation of how we develop our own personal style. What matters is that we like it and we feel good in it. Not allowing impulse shopping. I think I'm gonna make a lot of people angry with this one. Impulse purchases become problematic when we do them all the time. When we're just constantly, mindlessly adding things because we get that visceral reaction of seeing something and wanting it, then yeah, we're gonna end up with a very confused and disjointed closet. When I stopped allowing myself an interesting or spontaneous purchase every now and then, I started to only focus on the things I couldn't have. And that made me more frustrated with my closet. When we focus on what we can't have, it fosters a feeling of scarcity and lack. Whereas if we allow ourselves some moderate and healthy room to play and be spontaneous, we can come from a place of abundance. And when we are already looking at shopping from a place of abundance, that sense of urgency and lack and scarcity is truly minimized. I do think there are benefits to putting a pause on impulse spending or doing no buys, for example, but I think they have better results when it's for a reset or for a short period of time and not something that is expected to be sustained. It's like the 80-20 rule. If we are shopping responsibly and intentionally 80% of the time, the other 20% can be dedicated to some fun purchases. Some of my favorite items and most worn items in my closet are the impulse purchases. In fact, I did a whole video about it. I'm gonna find it and leave it up here. I like to manage impulse purchases by allowing myself a specific category. If it's vintage and I'm traveling, impulse purchases go in that bucket. Another thing that I've started doing is I'll take a specific amount of cash out at the beginning of every month, and that's like my impulse purchase money. So I have to be careful of when and where I spend it. Compulsive decluttering. For whatever reason, shopping less has developed this weirdly unhealthy relationship with compulsive decluttering. Did you know that we can get the same dopamine hit from decluttering as we do with shopping? And while I love a good closet edit, if we're decluttering all the time, we don't have the time or the mental capacity to play around with the clothes that we have and figure out how to mix and match them with our existing wardrobe. I've also personally used decluttering as a reason or an excuse to buy something guilt-free. Like, oh, I'll just declutter something from my closet that I don't really love anymore and I'll replace it with this. So instead, what I like to do is be constantly editing my closet once I've spent a lot of time in it. So in order for me to declutter something, it has to be because I've had a lot of experience with that item and it's really, really not working. Something that really helped me declutter mindfully is building up that data, that experience with a piece before I declutter it. There are a couple of ways that you can do this. If you have the Index app, that's an excellent way for you to understand what items in your closet you're actually wearing or not. It's a less intuitive approach, but everybody's different. I also love using a maybe pile or a maybe box. The way that works is I just take a piece that I'm contemplating decluttering and I don't let go of it right away. Instead, I put it in this maybe pile that's still out of sight but accessible if I want. And if I don't miss that item for a year or so, then I let it go. I take this more careful and conservative approach to decluttering simply because, I mean, look, even when we declutter something, it doesn't just disappear into thin air. It ends up somewhere on our planet, usually in a landfill, even if it's still wearable. And of course, no shade to anyone who does any of these things. If you love a good dress for your body type guide and that's what works for you and you need to stick to it to a T, then great. amazing. I love this for you. I just wanted to give us some alternatives to things that the internet makes us feel are non-negotiables. So that is what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you learned something new, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up or hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you buy a ticket to my next live workshop. It's going to be the last one of this season until we come back in September. You have a wonderful rest of your day and your evening, wherever you're at. And I'll see you in the next slow fashion video. Ciao.